Cowboy hats, slow walks, family drama, ranch wars. That's what most people think of when they hear the word neo-Western. And thanks to Yellowstone, the genre has exploded in the past few years. But what if I told you the best modern Western didn't come from a streaming giant? It came from FX, and it aired 10 years ago. Before Yellowstone was even an idea, FX had already created a series that mixed old-school cowboy values with modern-day crime, personal justice, and unforgettable characters. It was sharp, dangerous, funny, and real. And somehow, most people missed it. The Western genre has never truly died. It just changed. The days of black and white cowboys riding into the sunset with perfect morals are long gone. In today's world, things are messier. People are not always good or bad. That's where the neo-Western comes in. A neo-Western is a modern version of the old Western stories. It still has sheriffs, outlaws, and wide-open landscapes. But instead of horses, we get pickup trucks. Instead of gunfights at high noon, we see shootouts in small towns and trailer parks. And instead of simple heroes, we follow characters who live in the gray area between right and wrong. These stories take place in today's world but still carry that old Western feeling. They show us that even in modern America, there are places where the law is weak, where justice is personal, and where survival depends on how quick you are to act. In a neo-Western, the setting matters a lot. It's not just about the characters, it's about where they live. Think of dry deserts, dusty highways, lonely diners, and forgotten towns. These places feel like they've been left behind by time. They're not big cities full of technology. They're places where people still settle things face to face. Movies like No Country for Old Men, Hell or High Water, and Sicario helped define this genre for a new generation. These films showed us the dark side of the American dream, places filled with broken families, drug wars, and corrupt leaders. They proved that the Wild West didn't vanish. It just changed clothes. And then there are the shows. When most people think of neo-Western TV shows today, they think of Yellowstone. And that makes sense. It has all the right ingredients: big sky landscapes, rough characters, and the fight for land and legacy. It's become a massive hit, turning into a whole TV universe of its own, with prequels, spin-offs, and more. But what if I told you Yellowstone wasn't the first, and it might not even be the best? More than 10 years ago, before the streaming boom, before cowboy dramas became popular again, FX aired a show that nailed every part of the neo-Western style. It had an old-school lawman with a fast draw and a faster mouth. It had outlaws with brains and heart, and it had writing so sharp it could cut glass. This show wasn't about big ranches or family dynasties. It was about coal towns, worn down, streets, and people trying to find their own kind of justice. It was called Justified. While Yellowstone built its world on wealth and power, Justified focused on broken towns, personal grudges, and deep character stories. It didn't need 10 spin-offs to prove its value. It told one great story, and told it better than almost anyone else. But before we dive into Justified itself, let's take a closer look at what really makes a neo-Western work. What makes these stories stick with us? Why do we keep coming back to dusty roads, tough choices, and men who carry justice in their holsters? One big reason is the type of characters we meet. In classic Westerns, you had clear good guys and bad guys. The sheriff wore white, the outlaw wore black. But in neo-Westerns, it's not that simple. The hero might break the law. The villain might have a point. Everyone is doing what they think is right, even if it's wrong. Another reason is the way these stories reflect real problems. Neo-Westerns often deal with drugs, poverty, lost jobs, and broken systems. They show how law enforcement struggles to keep up, how people are forced to make hard choices, and how the old ways of doing things still haunt today's world. They also tap into a feeling that's hard to explain, a kind of longing for a time when people handled problems directly. No lawyers, no waiting, just action. That's the heart of the Western myth. And the neo-Western keeps it alive, even in a world filled with cell phones and traffic lights. So when we watch a show like Justified or Yellowstone, we're not just watching fights or family drama. We're watching something deeper, We're watching how people hold on to honor, pride, and survival in a world that's changing too fast around them. In the next section, we'll step fully into the world of Justified, a show that didn't just follow the neo-Western style. It helped define it. A show that gave us one of the coolest, most complex lawmen in TV history, and one that 10 years later still rides taller than Yellowstone ever did.